So many readers have confided with me. They say they cannot read Hot Lamp, the stories of Hot Lamp at one stretch.
Yes.
For fiction, I don't do research. Because when once I see a people, a word, a gesture, or just a facial expression of people or some environment that gives lot of, that grows in myself with lot of imagination. And exactly at the same time, I was thinking about the argument. These two words, Prabhu and Dasi, it stuck my mind.
If you think about the afterlife of that character, so do you imagine the character to be changed by that moment?
Yeah, that is the point where you might have read my 2 or 3 lines after that. Actually, there was a light signs of dawn emerging in the background.
But that endurance can also mean that, you're carrying unresolved damage for a very long time. And as someone who's listened very closely to women's lives, do you worry how easily endurance can be misunderstood?
I don't give much importance to how the body of a woman can be pushed. She came into the office with wearing a nightie and she came and collapsed there in our office. And all this, once again, the cycle starts. And when they are not happy, they won't tolerate me. And they won't tolerate, they exert all types of pressure on me. They use their foot soldiers to abuse me. It's all natural because I am swimming against the tides. For your information, that this Heart Lamp has been translated into 35 languages.
Absolutely.
Yes. जैसे मछली पानी में रहती है और खुद पहचानती नहीं कि ये पानी है, इसी तरह से मैं इतना पेट्रियार्की में डूबा हुआ हूँ कि मैं पहचान ना सका कि मैं पेट्रियार्कल हूँ। मगर आपकी स्टोरीज पढ़ने के बाद मुझे पता लगा कि कितना सेंसिटिव सोचना चाहिए हम लोगों को। अब तो ऐसा होता है, हर चीज आपको पर्दे में बोलना पड़ता है, हर चीज। इसीलिए मैं आजकल पोएम्स लिख रही हूँ।
We are living through a moment when literature is increasingly asked to clarify positions, pronounce judgments, and resolve conflicts it can barely hold. The work of Banu Mushtaq, arriving into global visibility at this moment, moves in a different register. Her stories stay with ordinary lives as they are managed, negotiated, and sustained under pressure. There is no promise of transformation here, no dramatic release. Only attention to how people endure, stop themselves, and continue without resolution. That attention and the ethic behind it is the ground on which this conversation begins. Thank you so much, ma'am, to give this interview.
Welcome here.
And with that context in mind, I want to begin with not with recognition or reception, but with where you place yourself as a writer. So, many readers, especially Indian ones, they recognize, the situations in the stories of Heart Lamp very immediately, very easily. Marriage, family obligations, compromise. But at the same time, a lot of contemporary writing, they are always chasing some kind of a novelty, some extremity in characters or some extreme ruptures, right? And your work pretty much resists that impulse. So I want to ask you, what interested you in not chasing novelty, but instead returning again and again to the same familiar structures?
Yeah, because what you told is correct. So many readers here and abroad, they resonate with these characters, the situation, the conditions, and the struggle of the protagonist. Because in Asian countries, just like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and even take France or any across the borders, everywhere, people, they just identify themselves with these characters. That's why, and I have come from the background of social movements. And I don't give any what you say novelty or chasing novelty. That's not my job. I just want to register a situation and leave it to the readers to decide what to do next. They have to be judgmental. They have to give some relief. They have to say something. They are compelled to say, because so many readers have confided with me. They say they cannot read Hot Lamp, the stories of Hot Lamp at one stretch. when they start reading, they have to stop it after a few pages or few paragraphs, and then they have to digest it, and then once again they have to proceed.
Yes, that is true.
In that situation, I presume, I understand that the story starts to grow in the minds of the readers,
Yes.
into their imagination, and they will be unrest. That's my only main intention. I want people, my readers, to make unrest. I want to see that the society is facing these unrest souls. There are a lot of questions. And when the questioning is there, there will be some possible changes.
Absolutely. I just want to ask you about you've said this often that you don't do too much research, but your stories feel that, they've been lived with for very long periods of time. So I want to ask you, how much time does it take for, for a story to stay within you, to stay inside you until it decides to be written?
Yes. There are two things. One, for whatever the creative writing is there, I don't make much research. And for other categories, I do have to make some research. That I have
when
to.
You're writing essays.
Essays. Essays are some general topics. That is non-fiction.
Yes.
I have to do the research. For fiction, I don't do research. Because when once I see a people, a word, a gesture, or just a facial expression of people, or some environment, that gives lot of that grows in myself with lot of imagination. And for that, I don't need any reference, any research. I don't need, because whatever situation I conceive, that itself I allow it to grow. And the growth, it may take 3 days, 1 day, 2 days, or 2 years, or 5 years. I don't know. I don't have any control over that situation. It has to grow by itself. ये खुद को बनना है, ये खुद को इमेजिन होना है, ये खुद को एक उसमें पूरा एक स्ट्रक्चर बनना है, और उसका आत्मा बनना है, उसका दिल बनना है. जब वो धड़कने लगेगा तो अपने आप मुझ पर वो एक्सप्रेस होगा. तो मैं बस उसको देखती हूँ, वो मेरे आंखों के सामने चलता है, उसको देखती हूँ, और मैं आई स्टार्ट टेलिंग द स्टोरी. दैट्स ऑल.
तो ऐसे कोई स्पेसिफिक आपको कोई स्टोरी की कहानी याद है कि मुझे ये कहानी मेरे जहन में आई और फिर मैंने any one story, if you remember a specific process that went behind it and how the story affected you, and then you started to write something that
there is one story that is Be Once a Woman, O Lord.
Yes, the one that
comes
at the end of
the story. That was a simple song. I am a practicing lawyer. I was going to the suburban court.
Yes.
And I was really worried about the argument and that I had to render in the court. And at that time I was traveling in the bus, and bus travel gives lot of experiences. It allows me to meet with lot of people. When I was traveling, there was a practice at those times. It was written about 30 years back. At that time, now it is not practiced, because some of the beggar men or women, they would come in the bus, they would start singing a song. When a song is completed, they would start asking for some money.
Yes.
And that way, a woman also came there. She started singing. It was a Kannada film song. It says, Prabhu Ninna De. Prabhu is Lord, Prabhu. Yes. Ninna De. Tumhari Daya. Ye hai kya? Prabhu Ninna De Nannaya Mahamandira. प्रभु निन्ना दये नन्नया महामंदिरा ना निन्ना दासी हो. प्रभु तेरी दया जो है वो मेरे लिए काफी है, और मैं तेरी दासी हूँ. This type she started. That was the story. She started singing, and exactly at the same time I was thinking about the argument. These two words, Prabhu and Dasi, it stuck my mind. What is this Prabhu and what is this Dasi? I could not understand, but I got greatly disturbed. And I folded my brief in my mind, and I started thinking about this Prabhu and Dasi. And this Prabhu event from, I don't know, from some pieces, some fragments into a great structure. It was constructed in my mind, but of course, it took some time. Not immediately I could write a story, it took some time. Then I started to think, then the mind gave me the perception that Prabhu is nothing but patriarchy. And she is Dasi. Patriarchy, where it is? It is in the household arena. It is in the domestic area. It is in the streets. A street will ask you, a woman, the patriarchal voice will ask you, why you are wearing this dress? Why you are going at this hour of night? Why you are doing this? Why you are doing what? Go to home. Place yourself within the four walls. It dictates in the streets also. It dictates in the offices, in the institutions, in the government, in the legislation, everywhere it is there. That is the patriarchy. Not only there, it is in the temples, masjid and churches also, because patriarchy dominates even the religious and religious texts also.
Absolutely.
And it dominates the government also. It dominates the entire world. Because it is ruling. Now we think government is ruling, but not the government is not ruling. It's the patriarchy which is ruling. So that way, my imagination started to interpret it, and then she who is living in the world of a man, she has got lot of questions. That is the question she asks in that stories. It is full of questions.
Lovely. Also, staying inside familiar worlds, it also means staying with their consequences. And I want to ask you about, the ending of Heart Lamp. When Mehrun has just doused herself with kerosene and she's about to light the matchstick, but she's stopped by the touch of her daughter Salma. She intervenes. So, when you were writing this scene, what mattered to you most at the moment? Was it the act that she was about to commit or the interruption that stopped her?
The interruption is the most important thing in the world, because I see lot of people, lot of versatile people, lot of educated, rich people who cannot say I don't have anything like this. मुझे हर चीज हासिल है. In spite of it, they will commit suicide. Why? Because they are devoid of this interruption. And why this interruption is necessary? Because a writer always, he or she is pro-life. She is not against life. I want to say there is a hope for everybody. And though that hope comes in the form of Salma. And there are so many Salmas in lives of others also. So what I wanted to say is, life does not end with the despair, with the depression. And life will not solve with the sole attempt of committing suicide. There is a lot of things. And there is one Salma who says, dying is not so important. If you want to die for the sake of him who has betrayed you, why don't you live for us? That is the question she poses. And now in all my stories, you see there are questions. And only questions. And these questions has to be answered as per the time, as per the situation. The answerable responsibility is on the society.
Exactly. So I want to ask this to you as a reader. When I read that bit, and it truly disturbed me, not because yes, more than a sigh of relief that she stopped. It felt heavy because something led her to that point. Something promised liberation, even if it was death. And now that she has stopped, we don't know what comes next. The afterlife of what is going to happen to her. When I think about this moment, I'm like, after the story ends, I don't know is she going to be back in the same cycle of violence? So, as if you think about the afterlife of that character, so do you imagine the character to be changed by that moment?
Yeah,
or
that
do you
is
see
it.
her
That is
returning?
that is the point where
Yes.
you might have read my 2 or 3 lines after that. Actually, there was a light signs of dawn emerging
Yes.
in the background. That dawn answers all the doubts. उ- उजाला होने
हाँ,
वाला था,
समझ गए, हाँ.
सूरज की रोशनी फैलने वाली थी और वहां से एक नई शुरुआत होने वाली थी उसके लिए, उसके बच्चों के लिए. इन स्पाइट ऑफ सो मेनी वायलेंसेस, शी इज डिटरमिन्ड. That determination matters more.
मतलब वो
For
symbolic.
because there are so many women in that position.
Yes.
Even today, so many women are there.
Hmm.
By the violence caused by this patriarchy, they are about to commit lot of things which are not amenable to normal human beings. And for those people, for those children, for those women, for those mothers, there is light of hope for them.
So I understand that, but very personally speaking, so I kind of feel that, or maybe many readers would interpret this as patience or endurance after that moment, maybe transformation also. But for me, but that endurance can also mean that, you're carrying unresolved damage for a very long time. And as someone who's listened very closely to women's lives, do you worry, that how easily endurance can be misunderstood and also even
Yes,
quietly
yes, I do agree.
romanticized
I
also,
do agree
right?
your point of argument
Yes.
that endurance is when it becomes a weakness.
Yes. And it is actually, it's become a virtue in a lot of people.
Lot of people. But
Yes.
even this in this particular scene, a college girl in Q&A session after my panel, she asked me, you have caused injustice to that woman, Mehrun. As a woman, you have snatched her rights
Yes.
to portray her as her motherhood.
Hmm.
That was a very sensitive question.
Yes.
Yes, I said, yes, I could understand what you were telling. That yes, I have done injustices to her by snatching her womanhood.
Yes.
Because as a woman, she has got her own way of living, her own way of thinking, and her own way of living. But the Indian women and Asian women, they don't have much difference between womanhood and motherhood. Whereas I think a European woman can consider individuality in saying that I am a woman first and a mother afterwards. But here in our country, in the same cultural sequence as our country, all the women, including myself, I may say I'm a mother first and a woman afterwards.
Yeah. I want to come to another story, which also, kind of there's a sequence in high-heeled shoes. There's a passage that becomes, almost physically overwhelming. The time, the heat, the pregnancy, the
Yes.
pain from the heels, the dizziness, and the, woman trying to break the shoes because she knows that she'll be forced to wear it later again, right? So as a reader, I felt almost close to fainting when I was reading that. It was so well written, so
Yes.
visceral in its
Yes.
description. So when you write a moment like that, how do you decide, how far the body should be pushed on the page, so that, and where to stop, so that the intensity doesn't become too excessive, it is just exactly precise.
Yeah, it is not. I don't give much importance to how the body of a woman can be pushed. My understanding was different when I wrote this high show. That here also once again the motherhood, the
Yes.
question of motherhood, it is very important. She not only want to protect herself, but she want to protect the weight she is bearing.
Yes.
She doesn't consider it as a weight. It is her living baby. It is which is responding to her. Always it is showing I'm here. Even a woman who has born children, she will understand. Though it doesn't speak expressly, there are implied talk between the mother and the child. Always a woman will talk. Here in this thing, the patriarchy, once again, it is the patriarchal mind of the husband
Hmm.
who want to see her wearing a high heel shoe in that situation also, when she is giving about to give birth to a child.
Hmm.
And she understands she has to wear it even afterwards also.
Yes.
But she doesn't have any objection, or she may try after her delivery. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
But now, right now, she
She has
doesn't
to
want to
protect
wear
the
it.
child.
That's why, and she doesn't want to say, I will get out of your home. I don't want to live with you. And I want separation from you. I want a divorce from you. She doesn't say all those things. Because
Exactly.
in our society, it is highly necessary that a baby, even an unborn baby, should be given a name.
Hmm.
That's why there will be a ceremony held before the birth of a child, where a pregnant woman, she will be given a good saree, she will be gifted, and there will be a lot of people will be invited. Her husband will be there to honor her pregnancy. If he honors, if he respects her pregnancy, it means that he is the father of that child.
Yes.
That is an implied approval to the society. ये एक डिक्लेरेशन के ये बच्चा मेरा है,
Hmm.
तो she want that protection also for that child.
Hmm.
That's why tactfully
Hmm.
she breaks the heel.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let him repair it.
Yes.
Let him come afterwards.
Yes.
And then she will
Then
be
he will.
having a different tool to defy him.
Right. And when you were writing that moment, the voice of the child that, she communicates. So did that, was it something that you had consciously planned to, in the structure of the story, or did it emerge while writing, as a bodily interruption that you were embodying that character? And did it emerge
No,
out of-
I never plan anything, to tell you this story. To such a, sensitive situations, I
Yeah.
don't plan anything.
Hmm.
And I just, when I start writing, when I just start telling a story,
Hmm.
it will creep in. I
Yes.
don't know how I too don't have any explanation.
Yeah, I understand that.
I
now.
too don't have.
Yeah. Ma'am, I want to move now from, how these choices play out in fiction to where much of this material comes from, and you've said that, you are a lawyer, and, how many of these stories grew out of listening, right? So, from women who came to you.
And I told you, I have got involved in the social movement, like Dalit
Yes,
movement,
absolutely.
Kisan movement, and feminist movement.
Yeah.
And there also I meet lot of people.
Lot of-
And my doors are open for
Hmm.
anybody who is aggrieved, who is haunted by these values,
Yes.
and they want some recourse to be done,
Hmm.
some relief to be done.
Hmm.
They approach to me at any moment of time.
Hmm.
And through their experiences, I understand, oh, society is like this. A man can react like this. Oh, what a hell these women are
Yeah, so
living.
that is why I want to ask you, when people come to you seeking help, what stays with you most strongly? Are those the legal facts of the case, or the ways they have, people have learned to narrate their stories? People often
First, they will
speak
narrate
under
it. First,
pressure.
they have
Yeah.
to narrate it
Yeah.
with lot of emotions,
Yes.
weeping, and declaring some nonsense, everything. That emotional outburst, I
Yeah.
should allow for that
Mm.
emotional outburst.
Yeah.
And that emotional outburst
Mm.
will be the raw material for my stories.
Mm.
Then I have to give them some immediate relief, because when I was working in our office, that was a holidays, so we work till 1 hour, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
The remaining evening is free for my staff and myself on holidays. She came into the office with wearing a nightie, and she came and collapsed there in our office. And all this, once again, the cycle starts. They abused, her husband smashed the TV, and he, harassed her, and he assaulted her,
Hmm.
and then closed her in a room and locked it.
Yeah.
She could not come outside for 3 days.
Hmm.
And at that moment, she has come out of the home. I don't know how, whether he was forgotten to lock or something. And she came to our office and she collapsed. And she said immediately, give me water and give me food. At that time, it was my bounden duty to provide her a cup of water and feed her stomach full. I don't have anything to say about the law or anything. It is the humanity which serves most at that moment. Because these women, they will come in such a harrowing situation. They need my help. I have to do whatever human service I can do at the initial stage. Then afterwards, I can think of legality. At first, I cannot think of any legality to them.
Yes. So, and you've also said that, writing became important at a time, when law itself felt limited, that when you could just listen and not always intervene, right? So, did fiction allow you to respond in a way that law and activism did not?
Yes, of course, of course. Yeah, even afterwards, I will give them, I will provide them some solace, I will give them some relief. It's a different thing. But I want to say, I want to become a device to echo the cries, the unheard voice of these women over the world, across the borders. I want to say, this is the situation, this is what happening to the women.
Yes.
Because so some of the people, they say, we are not acquainted with the world which you have depicted in your stories. We don't know that such a world exists even today.
Exactly.
They are unaware of these things, and I want to make aware of these things. And I want to say, other than your luxuries, your lives, your computers, your robots, and your movies, and your high-speeding vehicles and cars, everything within those noises, there are some noises which you have not heard even today. They need to be heard.
I also want to understand the practice of law and looking at things or listening to stories through the lens of law, or as a lawyer who's aware of how the legal structures are made in our country. I'm sure it teaches you a lot about how to listen. So what is it that law kind of allowed you more, and what is it that it did not teach you, that only fiction allowed you to understand about these stories?
Can you clarify?
Yes, I just want to say that, through the structures of law, there is, I suppose there's a different attentiveness in listening to these stories. Like if I would have been a lawyer,
yes, of course, of course.
Yeah.
ये बिल्कुल अलग होता है.
हाँ.
जब आप देखते हैं क्या, if you are not a lawyer, you will see through a different lens.
Exactly, that is what I want to understand. Yes,
different lens. When you are a lawyer,
yes,
you will understand. So this fellow has committed offences under these acts, and he can be punished later, and he can be taken into task in my next step. But my first step is some service to her, which is highly necessary at that condition. And afterwards, I take up those things on those lines, and I see him that law gives proper recourse to this woman, proper relief to this woman, and he is properly punished. Or in some such case, some cases, the woman will also be fed up being outside the home. She will not security, she will not get children, she will not get what she wants. And husband also realizes. He also says that I should not have done all these things. Even though his nature doesn't changes, he is softened by the process of law. And both of them, they get compromised. And they are living happily now, without causing any abuse on her. They are living. That thing is also possible. But it is only after the legal course is taken up against him.
What do you think about the Indian legal system? Is it robust enough to protect the women's rights?
Law itself does not come as a person. But there are persons who execute these things. During execution, law is good, theory is good, but during execution, there will be a lot of things. The things will happen which does not allow the real intention of the law to be executed. That type of hardships we have seen. And if law passes, She has to be given 10,000 rupees per month as maintenance.
Yeah.
It has passed order.
Yes.
But when order is passed itself, she will not get any relief. This order has to be executed. That means a notice has to be served to him, and then court asks him to pay that. See, such and such a court has ordered this amount, you pay this amount, court says. And he says, I don't have money, or he doesn't receive the notice. Then this woman, once she has to take process to summon him through police or to get arrest to him and put him behind the bars, or his house, the things which are present in house, they have to be get action. His property has to be get action, and the amount, that is a highly tedious process.
Yes.
Therein, her right to maintenance is destroyed, and the man, this patriarchy, wants to see वो क्या है. एक तरफ बच्चे को रुलाना है, दूसरी तरफ झूलाना है. दिस प्रोसेस इज गोइंग. कानून कुछ तो उसको मदद के लिए आएगा, और जो एग्जीक्यूशन लेवल में, जारी लेवल में, वो पूरा बेकार हो जाएगा.
Ma'am, I also want to talk about the specific kind of socio-political context in which you situate yourself, right? And Deepa called you a Bandaya. So Bandaya, yes.
Bandaya.
So which and this is a very rich literary tradition which talks of lived oppression, social exploitation, everyday violence. So how important is this context to the way your stories think and move?
Yeah, I think this socio-political condition is not conducive to my storytelling.
Okay.
Because through these stories, through these protagonists, I question them. I question the socio-political situation. I question religion. I question the execution of religion against women. I question the government, present power structure. Everything which is powerful nowadays, which want to control, which want to condition the women, I question them, and they are not happy with me. Naturally, it is there because a woman is expected to be submissive, cool, silent, unto what you already told, endure everything, and even then she has to be silent, because ये तो घर की इज्जत है, वो कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहिए. ऐसे मामले में जब मैं बात करने लगी, when I start telling all these stories, so whatever you are doing is not correct. When I start telling, they naturally they are not happy, and when they are not happy, they won't tolerate me, and they won't tolerate. They exert all types of pressure on me. They use their foot soldiers to abuse me. It's all natural because I am swimming against the tides, and tides will normally pull me against.
Absolutely. Also, Banu, Heart Lamp has reached many readers, in English through the translation by Deepa Bhasti, who, shared the Booker Prize with you. So, for you as a writer, what did it mean for you to work with somebody who is not just, translating your works, but is also, kind of thinking and feeling alongside the text with you?
Actually, Deepa Bhasti is from my next district.
Okay.
And we have the common legacy of language, social understanding, cultural understanding. Because we are about 150 kilometers away from it, it is not quite different. It doesn't have any different. Of course, she has placed in such a place which is called as Coorg, which is completely having coffee plantation. Even my district, Hossan, is also having lot of coffee districts, and all these geographical conditions are also same. And in this context, the Deepa Bhasti, she is not only a translator, she is a writer also, and I respect her for that. And translation means it is a bridge
Yeah.
which connects to far away rivers or places or anything, bridging the gap. That is what she has done. And she having the common legacy as mine, she as a woman and as a fellow human being and also a fellow Kannadiga, she has done a marvelous job. Yes.
That she has.
We have got lot of commonalities between us.
Yes, but whenever a work is translated, there is always a risk, right? So, when you read your stories in translation, so what do you hope that what parts of it remains completely untouched in a way, or untouched by the whatever, however ways translations can go wrong, and in what parts do you allow some kind of a flexibility? Are you willing to let change?
In that thing, my works are not easy to translate because there are some cultural significance in it, because
Yes.
I being a Muslim and I write in Kannada for Kannada readers.
Yes.
At that time, there were not more Muslims who were reading Kannada. A lot of Kannada Hindus only, they were reading Kannada and my works. And it was a sort of experimentation at this initial, because we never had any footsteps. Muslims writing in Kannada. And there were some Shishunala Sharif and Nasir Ahmad, all those Muslim writers, they wrote, as per the then tradition. They were not challenging and they were not questioning. They were establishing the real truth in that path, like Bhakti movement. Their ratings went smoothly, whereas my rating were turbulent ratings. They were not smooth sailing, because I as a woman, I predicted and I felt everything, that this is against me, this is against me, this is against me. As a lot, it is against all the womanhood. And so I was not happy with those, and I started questioning from initial stage itself. At that time, when I wrote as a Muslim to the Kannada writers, for the sake of Kannada writers, and I used a lot of Urdu, Persian and Arabic words that were used by the Sunni Muslims at our place, in our household. What we just like I used to say namaz, I would like to say roza or asar namaz or janaza. All those words I introduced in the same way in my stories, and Deepa retained them. She never translated it. She never said Ramzan, she said as Ramzan. Rosa, she said, whatever I predicted there as Rosa, she also wrote Rosa, translated. She never said fasting. That was something special which she maintained, and of course, translators have got their own liberty.
Yes.
Because they have to give the entire gist of the story in the original tone. That way, a translator is allowed to have a liberty of her own.
So you're absolutely happy with the translation.
Of course, she has done a good job.
And now that your books are much more widely accessible to a far more wide readership, and people who are...
For your information, there are these Heart Lamp has been translated into 35 languages.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And your earlier work also has been translated into many languages. So, how important, because these are, of course, stories which are deeply embedded in a very specific cultural and political world. And for instance, I remember like a novel like 100 Years of Solitude. It was so deeply embedded in, but now it's being embraced by a completely global audience. So, how do you think about this gap where the book is written from and how it is read elsewhere?
How is?
So do you think about this gap, that you wrote in a specific socio-political context, but now these will be for Indian readers, perhaps it's more easier, but for foreign audiences, it's an alien world, as you
Yes.
said, right? So, do you think of this gap between, this sort of readership and your work, and do you think of how they are receiving this, and what are they thinking
See,
about?
I will tell you one thing.
Yes.
You will get answer to
Okay.
what your queries. Recently, about 3 or 4 days back, one person from Pune, he called me. He
Okay.
said, I am from the rationalist movement.
Ah.
My father is also from a rationalist movement. But though we declare ourselves as myself as a rational, I could not understand that I was a patriarch till I read your
Till I
stories.
read your stories. Wow.
And your first story, Shaista, they say it is centered around I'm a South Indian Muslim family.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. Because शाइस्ता मैं देख रहा हूँ, मेरे घर में है, मेरे पड़ोस में है, मेरे घर के आगे है, मेरे गांव में है, मेरे मोहल्ले में है, हर जगह मैं शाइस्ता को देख रहा हूँ, उससे बात कर रहा हूँ, उससे मिल रहा हूँ, इसलिए मुझे कोई वो एक अजूबा नहीं है, वो गैर नहीं है, मेरी अपनी है, मैं जहां तक अपना सकता हूँ उसको, ये इम्पोर्टेंट बात है, कहां तक मैं उसे पहचान सकता हूँ, ये इम्पोर्टेंट बात है। जैसे मछली पानी में रहती है और खुद पहचानती नहीं कि ये पानी है, इसी तरह से मैं इतना पेट्रियार्की में डूबा हुआ हूं कि मैं पहचान ना सका कि मैं पेट्रियार्कल हूँ। मगर आपकी स्टोरीज पढ़ने के बाद मुझे पता लगा कि कितना सेंसिटिव सोचना चाहिए हम लोगों को। This is the situation, and I was also shocked to see this thing also they can pursue. The same thing happened with the Western readers also. They said they are not alien characters. They are our own characters, because wherever the patriarchy crossed its border, they will identify these things. And a woman, she calls me from Pakistan. She says, I am from Pakistan. और वो बोलती है, आप ये कहानी आपने क्यों लिखा, कैसे लिखा, आपको क्या राइट है लिखने के लिए, ये तो मेरी कहानी है, मेरी माँ की कहानी है, मेरी दादी की कहानी है, ये क्यों अपनाए आप लोग।
अच्छा, ऐसी कोई कहानी है जो आपके जहन में पर आपने अभी तक लिखी नहीं, या लगता है कि इफ आई राइट दिस इट इज टू रॉ और इट विल एक्सपोज टू मच, इज देयर समथिंग लाइक दैट?
यस, ऐसा बहुत सारे कहानियां हैं। अच्छा। क्योंकि आज के एक पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन में समझो, मैं तो लिखती हूँ कि एक मुस्लिम कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड में ही लिखती हूँ, क्योंकि मैं दूसरा मुझे अपना नहीं मालूम, मैं एक ब्राह्मण कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड में मैं नहीं लिख सकती। वहाँ के उनके ईद, उनका एक उसका इम्पोर्टेंस, या एक मौत का सीनरी, आपने मेरी अब नेक्स्ट कलेक्शन में आ रही है जहाँ वो ये होता है, एक्सीडेंट में एक घर के 5 औरतों की डेथ हो जाती है, उनका जनाजा और उनका क्रियाक्रम, इसके बारे में मैं लिखा है, वो स्टोरी अब ट्रांसलेट हो रही है। इस इंटेंसिटी से मैं दूसरे रिलीजन या दूसरे कल्चरल या आई मीन प्रैक्टिसेस के बारे में नहीं लिख सकती जी। तो अब मैं ये ऐसे सुनो, समझे कि सौओं की स्टोरियां हैं, कहानियां हैं मेरे पास, अगर मैं लिख दूं तो मुझे डर है कि कहीं ये स्टोरी कोई एक हिंदुत्व फोर्सेस के लिए वंस अगेन मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी के ऊपर वार करने के लिए मैं हथियार ना दे दूं। इस वास्ते मैं विथेल्ड की हूं, मैं खुद को सेंसरशिप में डाली हूं, मैं लिख नहीं रही हूं।
I absolutely understand. Just like one last question before I move into like a rapid fire. So, when you look at your stories now, not as books in circulation, but as work that came out of specific moments of listening and helplessness, is there something you still feel unsure about as a writer? Something that writing has never quite resolved for you?
ऐसे बहुत सारे स्टोरीज हैं, ऐसे बहुत सारे इंसिडेंट्स हैं, ऐसे बहुत सारे
जिनको आप प्रोसेस नहीं कर पाती।
प्रोसेस नहीं कर पाती। मेरे पूरे वो जो है नोट्स है मेरे पास, मगर उनको वो मैं अपने दिमाग में भी नहीं डाली हूँ कि वो प्रोसेस हो सके, ना दिल में बिठा सकूं कि क्योंकि उसका गीत गा सके। मैं किसी के साथ शेयर भी नहीं कर रही हूँ क्योंकि उसके बहुत सारे वो जो होते, अगर मेरे एक ही ऐसी स्टोरी के बारे में, ऐसे स्टोरीज जो हैं किसी को उछालने के लिए एक हथियार ना बन जाए, किसी पर वार करने के लिए एक वेपन ना बन जाए, और किसी के खिलाफ साजिश करने के लिए एक स्ट्रैटेजी ना बन जाए, ऐसा ऐसी एक जिम्मेदारी भी अपने ऊपर है।
जी, आप तो क्या बहुत सारे जॉनर में लिखती हैं, आप एसेज लिखती हैं, पोएम्स लिखती हैं, तो ऐसा है कि शायद पोएम में इसको थोड़ा ओब्लिकली इस सब्जेक्ट को डील कर लूं, या फिर लैंग्वेज ही कम पड़ रही है, या यू थिंक दैट you don't have the language yet to, or you don't want to speak also is language, or
नहीं, ऐसी बात नहीं है। अगर मैं जब लिखती हूँ तो पूरे सिंसियरिटी से लिखती हूँ, पूरे ऑनेस्टी से लिखती हूँ, ऐसे कुछ पर्दापोशी करके लिखती नहीं हूँ। मैं ऐसे भी लिख सकती हूँ, पर्दापोशी करके लिख सकती हूँ, मगर ये मेरी बिल्कुल आदत नहीं है। कोशिश करना पड़ता है मुझे ऐसा कैमोफ्लेजिंग करके लिखने के लिए, कोशिश करना पड़ता है, वरना मैं बिल्कुल अमानतदारी से मैं पहुंचाती हूँ कि देखिए ऐसा है, ऐसा मैं पहुंचा रही हूँ, ऐसा कर सकती हूँ। मगर अब तो ऐसा होता है, हर चीज आपको पर्दे में बोलना पड़ता है, हर चीज। इसीलिए मैं आजकल पोएम्स लिख रही हूँ।
चलिए, I'll do a bit of rapid fire. It's just like आपको you just have to answer by instinct. Maybe some choices, one single word, nothing, just some instincts, right? So, pen or keyboard, what do you prefer?
मैं पेन भी नहीं, कीबोर्ड भी नहीं।
अच्छा,
मैं तो सिर्फ एक मेरे मोबाइल में एक ऐप रखती हूँ, वो उसको ऐसे ही बैठे कहानी बोलते जाती हूँ और लिखते जाती है बस।
Okay, one story at a time or many at once?
Yeah, many will haunt. Of course, there will not be a single thought. Many will be there, but only one single story can haunt you forever till it is completed.
Yes. Okay. Which is harder, beginning a story or ending it?
Ending it.
Ending it. Okay. Are there many stories which are still unended?
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Do you argue a lot in your head?
Yes. Yes, lot. A lot.
Short stories or novels?
Both. I write both. But short stories are my favorite.
Are your favorite?
Because it gives it will be complete. It can be completed within a short span, and it has got a very short canvas. It doesn't have a big canvas. आप यहाँ जाइए, शिमला जाइए, वहाँ होटल जाइए, पहाड़ देखिए, झरी देखिए, उसके बारे में आराम से लिखिए, बस में आइए, किसी लड़की से बात कीजिए, किसी लड़के से बात कीजिए, ड्राइवर से। इस किस्म की आरामती नहीं मिलेगी आपको शॉर्ट स्टोरी में। You have to be very, very accurate. आपको बहुत ही कंजूस होना पड़ेगा अपने वर्ड्स के साथ, बिल्कुल अप्रोप्रिएट, जैसा एक स्किल्ड एक ज्वेलरी बनाने वाला बिल्कुल वही स्टोन वहां बिठाएगा कि उसको स्पेशल इफेक्ट हो जाए। इसी तरह, क्योंकि उसको छोटी जगह में रहती है, इसी तरह से आपको एक छोटी जगह या बड़ी जगह में बिल्कुल ऐसा ही प्रिसिशन तौर से एक नगीना बिठाना पड़ेगा शॉर्ट स्टोरी के अंदर, और आपके कैरेक्टर्स इंट्रोड्यूस करना पड़ेगा, उनको कॉन्फ्लिक्ट देना पड़ेगा, और उनके दिमागी हालत भी बोलना पड़ेगा। देन एंटी क्लाइमैक्स एट द एंड। इतना फास्ट काम करना पड़ेगा आपको उसके अंदर। सो शॉर्ट स्टोरीज आर हाईली चैलेंजिंग। आपको नॉवेल के जैसा आराम से आप कुछ भी लिखते नहीं जा सकते। आप वही लिखना पड़ेगा जो वहां को सूट करेगा।
A book that you return to, बार बार पढ़ती हैं आप किताब, ऐसी कोई है?
नहीं, मैं एक बार पढ़ने के बाद दूसरी बार किताब
अच्छा,
बिल्कुल नहीं पढ़ती। एक बार फिल्म देखने के बाद दूसरी बार नहीं देखती। मेरी वो आदत
ऐसा
है,
कोई भी
ऐसा
emotional
रिपीट नहीं
anchor
करती,
नहीं है।
ऐसे ऐसे रिपीट कीजिए करती मैं।
तो मेरा next question था rereading a familiar book or discovering a new one. I suppose it's the
क्या है?
it was rereading a familiar book or discovering a new one.
New
So
one.
you've already
I
answered
want to
that.
discover a new
Yes.
one. I cannot reread.
Mm.
It is my patience नहीं रहेगा मुझे.
बिल्कुल. A character who endures quietly or one who openly confronts.
Oh, it depends upon the situation. It depends क्योंकि या मेरे बारे में पूछ रहे हैं या मेरे कैरेक्टर्स के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं? कैरेक्टर्स के बारे में वो इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द सिचुएशन क्योंकि मेरे प्रोटोगनिस्ट जो है, मेरे कैरेक्टर्स जो हैं, दे आर नॉट हाईली एजुकेटेड लेडीज. उनको कोई डिग्री वग्री यहाँ से वहां तक है, लाइफ एक्सपीरियंस वही तो उनकी पूरी क्या कहते हैं, उनकी पूरी जिंदगी है उनकी. और वो जिंदगी जो है वो घर वो बहुत प्यार मोहब्बत से देखते हैं. घर उनको बहुत अपनाना चाहते हैं, उससे बाहर भी निकलना नहीं चाहते, और रहना है तो जुल्म भी सहना नहीं चाहते. इसलिए अकॉर्डिंग टू द सिचुएशन either they will rebel, they will.
But personally, what kind of characters you prefer? Like,
yeah, I'm a rebel by nature. Yes.
Confront, right?
Yes.
So, which is a richer literary world, rural life or urban life? A richer literary world, ki matlab jahan richer, more fertile literary material you get from rural life या urban lives?
Both. Both blend together, you can give something new, something which any reader can ponder over there.
Yes. And right now, does writing feel more like a daily practice or a moral compulsion?
नहीं, डेली प्रैक्टिस तो नहीं बोल सकती मैं क्योंकि आई डोंट गेट any time at all. Now I am not giving any time at all towards writing. I cannot say that it is a daily practice. I can say it's a moral compulsion. Whenever I feel that I must and should write, if I don't write, I am really violating something ethical, then I start writing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Banu. Listening to you, it felt like, where exactly not to force life into shape. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.